What's going on, guys, and welcome back to another video. So we have some potentially troubling news because what Democrats are trying to do might not actually accomplish what their end goal actually is. So it's creating a lot of issues, but I will address that. We'll talk about the stimulus package, give you an update there. I want to touch a little bit on Social Security today because a lot of people are saying that with a filibuster change within the Senate, this could mean more for Social Security. So I want to address what's being discussed there and actually tell you the facts behind this. If we're going to see a $200 per month boost or maybe not. I also want to talk about how multiple lawmakers are going to propose legislation to make trading stocks illegal for lawmakers. And I want to provide you some daily news as well. So let's get right into it. So Democrats have a new plan, and it's actually very simple. What they're planning to do is they're going to push a bill into the Senate through a roundabout way. From there, they will require all senators to publicly address where they stand on the voting rights bill. And the purpose behind this is that if 50 Democrats say that they support the bill, then Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer, he's going to call on these 50 Senate Democrats to change the filibuster rules and allow the bill to finally pass. But this is where senators actually worry that Senator Joe Manchin and Senator Kyrsten Sinema won't support this. They will not come on board, but they could. So here's what I can tell you, because let's talk about what else this does for Democrats. Because passing the filibuster reform will actually allow Democrats to pass bills with just 51 votes. This is at least according to the reports as of this morning. That is one of the things that they're trying to do. They do not want a 60 vote majority. They don't want that 60 vote minimum, because by having that, it's actually giving the minority so much power, especially if the minority has more than 40 votes, which they do. They actually have 50. It's a 50-50 split. But let me explain why this might not sound like the golden ticket that some people think it is. Passing bills with just 51 votes seems like it's going to be really easy, and seems like it will be very easy moving forward. But the truth is that getting all 50 Senate Democrats on board with any legislation at this point has been proven difficult as of late. So, what does this mean for the Build Back Better Act? Could we see the Build Back Better Act easily pass once the filibuster is changed? Well, I can tell you the answer is no. Here's the reason why. At this point, what we know is that currently the Build Back Better Act was supposed to pass through something called a budget reconciliation. In order to pass a reconciliation bill, which Democrats currently have three reconciliations that they can use in 2022, what we know, Senator Joe Manchin was not on board. He wasn't on board with that. Either was Senator Kyrsten Sinema, and there's a couple others as well, because they're worried about inflation and other things. So as of right now, the Build Back Better Act, whether we pass a filibuster reform or not, is not expected to pass. The Build Back Better Act is pretty much stuck in the mud. It is dead as of right now. But here's something that we do know. Could Social Security finally get a raise if we change the filibuster? Here's what I can tell you. This is actually seen as an easier task than passing the Build Back Better Act. Now, could we see $200 per month boost? Probably not, as this was President Biden's promise, not a promise from Congress. So Congress is not actually worried about this. If President Biden is really worried about this, he's going to do something about it, but he hasn't yet. Here's where things could change. Could we see that 2% bump to get Social Security caught up with inflation? Yes. And the reason I say yes is because multiple lawmakers have stated that that is one of their goals. We know that inflation has hurt many people. Most seniors were fine. That wasn't a real concern. But most people were getting by they were doing just fine. Back in 2019, started 2020, but then we started to see 4, 5, 6, and now 7% inflation. So that's a real cause for concern. And that's where lawmakers say they have to step in and provide more assistance now. So this could be one of those things that we do see is that 2% bump to Social Security. Okay? Now, I don't know for sure if that would be coming, but that is, at least according to experts, that is what they're discussing. Is it's a possibility. That's a greater possibility than the Build Back Better Act. So as soon as we get more information there, I promise I will fill you in on that news and updates as we get it. And right now that we're talking about inflation, let's actually talk about the real concern that many economists have right now. We know that the Federal Reserve plans to raise interest rates to help fight inflation. Now, this is considered a good thing. But, and this should get inflation back down to, I'd say, under 5% over the next 6 to 9 months. But here's where things are being said as this is a bigger problem. And this is what we could see. By raising interest rates, that could actually lead to an economic slowdown. And when we have high inflation with a slow economy, this is called stagflation. And when the economy sees a slow in growth, the only way to improve this is to lower interest rates. The problem is interest rates are near zero. And this is one of the biggest tools that the Fed can use to lower inflation is to raise rates. So as of right now, according to multiple economists, we're in a lose-lose situation. And it's not looking like it's going to get better anytime soon. But I can tell you right now, this is one of the worries that many lower income earners have as well. With prices going higher and higher each month, they have to decide what they can afford to buy each month and what they can't. Can they buy their medications? Can they buy food, pay their bills? These are all things that are extremely important. But here's what I can tell you. The reason why this is such a worry for lower income earners is because if we continue to see inflation rise, it means that the dollar that you make today is going to be worth less in the future. That's how inflation works. But here's the other issue. With stagflation, if we see interest rates keep, or not interest rates, but if we see inflation keep going up and we see the economy slow down, what normally happens? Well, what happens when the economy slows down is people lose their jobs. If you lose your job, and yet inflation keeps going up, and so the stuff that you need to buy costs more and more, it means you can actually afford to buy less. So, huge issue. A lot of people are very concerned. And speaking of grocery stores and stores in general, let's talk about this. Because many grocery stores are seeing empty shelves due to the supply chain issues and worker shortages. Many workers are simply at home isolating, and while they are there, the stores are just trying to hold on, just hang on, stay open, even if they have a skeleton crew working. But here's what we know. What we know is that Americans are actually eating at home more often these days than they did in the past. Here are the reasons why. They say with rising prices, children not in school, office buildings closed down. These are just some of the leading causes for stores needing more food on hand than they did before. But here's the problem. The problem is that these stores, they never had the chance to evaluate the situation, prepare. It was because the pandemic caused them to pretty much get behind from the beginning. They never had enough food. And that was the real issue according to multiple experts. But let me just ask you this, okay? What are you seeing happening in your area? Because around me, what I'm seeing is I'm seeing a lot of empty shelves. But more so with items such as, the things that can be stored for a long time. Rice, beans, pastas, things like that. So let me know what you're seeing in your area. All you gotta do is just comment down in the comment section below. But we also know that many lawmakers as of right now are actually starting to introduce some type of provision to prevent lawmakers from investing in the stock market. Now this was something that I brought up a couple months ago as well, was many people were looking to change this. They didn't want to see lawmakers who write the laws be able to profit from the laws that they're writing. So there are actually a few different bills that are circulating as of right now, or different proposals, not bills. But all these proposals would ban lawmakers from trading stocks. But one bill would also ban dependents from trading stocks as well. I believe this is coming from John Ossoff, from Georgia. We also know that Representative Pramila Jayapal and Senator Elizabeth Warren have the Anti-Corruption and Public Integrity Act. This actually bans members of Congress, cabinet secretaries, federal judges, and other officials from owning and trading stocks or serving on corporate boards. So they are really trying to crack down on this and stop people from doing this. Now, what we've seen lately is lawmakers continue to outperform the markets, and I'm not upset that people are making money in the stock market. I make money in the stock market. It's just the way it is. But here's the issue. Many lawmakers say that it's a conflict of interest when somebody that's helping write the laws is also able to make trades on those laws that they have yet to write. For instance, when we learned that lawmakers were wanting to pass, hundreds of billions of dollars for electric vehicles, and this was actually pushed by President Biden, we saw, if you look back, we saw that many lawmakers bought into some of these companies like Tesla and Ford and General Motors and a lot of these electric vehicle companies. They bought into them even before the framework was announced. So this could have easily have given them a huge profit right from the beginning. And this is what lawmakers are saying, is this is providing lawmakers with this upper hand, and we have to do something about that, because by having that ability to trade a stock before you write the law on it, this is a huge conflict of interest. So, for example, let's say one lawmaker didn't support providing additional funding or for EVs, right? More charging stations or whatever. They didn't support this. But at the same time, they knew, but I have this stock over here. It's going to be really good for Tesla and Ford and General Motors or whatever, right? And so I'm buying Lucid and Rivian and all these other companies. But I should probably support that bill, just because, I could make a lot of money here if I just support that bill. So this is where it's a conflict of interest. Having money tied to the decisions that you make, to many, they say this isn't right. But we will see. So right now, there's a lot of stuff going on. The real troubling news as of right now is that Democrats have really no idea which way to go. They're pretty much just trying any option that comes to them in hopes that it's going to open a door to pass the Build Back Better Act, to provide this voting rights bill. And so again, it's just coming back to the same thing. And I said this over the past probably 6 months, that reports indicated that multiple Democrats said the best thing that they can do is just pass anything. Pass anything, make it look like they've done something over the past year, take that into the midterm elections, try to win more seats in the House and the Senate, and then hopefully in 2023 they can pass bigger and better legislation. So that's the expectation at this time. We will see what happens, but as always, as I know more, I promise I'll come back on, share all the latest news and updates. Again, I just want to thank you guys for watching. Have a wonderful rest of your day. Consider subscribing, and I'll see you guys on the next one.